What's going on guys, my name is Jake, welcome to a brand new video. Today we're here for the 2012 Belgium Grand Prix for the Iceman returns, and you can now just look through Raikkonen's setup for this weekend. Obviously a low downforce setup as we are at a high speed track. You can race strategy of one stop today, pitting on lap 5 for the primes, and then going on to the on the normal fuel strategy. Obviously 11 laps ahead of us today, as now we're going to look at the grid. Sebastian Vettel qualified on pole with Jens Button in second and Fernando Alonso in third. Fourth was Mark Webber, and then Lewis Hamilton was in fifth, not being able to find the same pace as his teammate. In sixth and seventh was Nico Rosberg and Jerome Grosjean. Eighth was in the Sergio Perez, and then in ninth, doing a fantastic job before India, was Paul di Resta, and then Kimi Raikkonen lined up in 10th. Felipe Massa and Michael Schumacher not in the best qualifying down in 12th and 14th respectively, and then making it a back row of the grid. It is Pastor Maldonado and Bruno Senna in the two Williams, as the two teammates collided in Q1, and that inevitably took them out of the qualifying session. Now, as we are looking at the grid, you can see that Sebastian Vettel qualified on pole, and then you can see Roman Grosjean in 7th place, and then his teammate Kimi Raikkonen in 10th place. So obviously he has had a decent qualifying in the last two races, and you see he has Paul di Resta and Sergio Perez with Roman Grosjean ahead of him. And here at Spa, throw out surprises as it's lights out and away we go, and you can see that Raikkonen actually getting to a fairly decent start. He's actually coming as they're coming into last source. Grosjean has lost a place, and Raikkonen has actually gained a place, moved up into 9th, and now as you're coming out to Eau Rouge, it's going to be pretty interesting. But Raikkonen gets tagged by, I believe, by Paul di Resta, and that puts Raikkonen back down to 10th, and then coming up Eau Rouge, he makes contact with Kimi Kobayashi, but nevertheless moves up to 9th place, and he has Nico Rosberg ahead of him, and I believe that Roman Grosjean is in 7th once again, ahead of Nico Rosberg, and Raikkonen looks to be pretty quick, and he is of course a specialist around Spa. He has won here on several occasions. Did get his first win here, but that was in Malaysia in 2003. As it looks like he's going to make it inside of Rosberg, but he thinks better of it. But yes, as I was saying, Raikkonen very obviously a specialist at this track, winning several times, as is Michael Schumacher, who won his first Grand Prix here. And Rosberg backs up Raikkonen a bit, but it's not too bad as he is now back and running, and he actually makes a mistake now at P1, I believe that is, and that loses him some time. But on lap 2, Grosjean's been overtaken as he comes on, and Raikkonen sort of came on straight. And look at the superior speed that he has on his teammate. Same car, but different driver, and the driver can make all the difference sometimes. And Raikkonen breezes past him to move up into 8th place, and next up is Nico Rosberg, who I believe has Sergio Perez ahead of him as well. And so Grosjean is in 8th, and Raikkonen chasing down Nico Rosberg. I don't know when he will catch him, but I would guess it would be in the next lap or two. And as we're coming on to the beginning of lap 3 actually, as they go through their source, Raikkonen following Rosberg and Perez through there, while setting a fast lap in the process of 1 minute 52.8, and use about half his curves as they come up through Eau Rouge and Radion, and then onto the Kemmel Straight. Obviously Raikkonen looks very fast, and Rosberg's actually making a move on Perez, and Raikkonen opens the DRS, and he actually gets in the slipstream Perez and pulls out to the outside, breezes past him, and then makes a move around the outside of Rosberg, and he actually gets the move done. So that's a double overtake, but it looks like Rosberg might try and come back in, coming up into this slow speed first gear corner, and he doesn't. So that means Raikkonen moves up into P6 behind Mark Webber in the Red Bull. As now we move on to later on lap 3 actually. Raikkonen comes as bus stop chicane, he goes up the inside of Mark Webber and moves up into P5, giving him enough room on the inside for the second corner, and Raikkonen has P5 as he actually sets a new personal best, and now he has Lewis Hamilton 2.1 seconds ahead of him, and Hamilton set a fast lap, but Raikkonen is very close to that. He's only 0.08 of a second behind that lap time of Hamilton. So if Raikkonen can just string some good consistent laps together, he should be able to capture Lewis Hamilton. As now on following up on lap 5, you see that Lewis Hamilton actually carries on, and Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso peel off into the pits, as does Raikkonen going down to Lima fuel mixture. So coming into the pits on lap 5, which will turn to lap 6 about now, and Raikkonen now pulls into his pits and on go the prime tyres, the hard for this weekend, and Raikkonen's actually held a bit for Alonso, but nevertheless that's still a 3.8 second pit stop, and Raikkonen hasn't lost much time. And now coming out of the pits, he rejoins in 9th place ahead of Sergio Perez and behind Fernando Alonso, as now we are coming on to later on lap 6 actually. Raikkonen again very fast coming around, coming out to the bus stop chicane, and he runs onto the marbles a bit, slight contact with Alonso, but then around the outside he goes around he gets up the inside, which I think is in the outside, but Alonso just holds it. A little squirm from Alonso as drivers are coming back into the pits, and it now turns the battle for 5th place as our drivers in the pits and field sorts themselves out, and Raikkonen are on the outside there at the source to get the pass done on Fernando Alonso and up into 5th place. As you can see, 23 runners in the Grand Prix at the moment, as now we are coming through Eau Rouge and Radion again on the chemistry, and through Radion Raikkonen makes the move inside of Mark Webber and gets it done. Very reminiscent, just a slightly different part of the track than Alonso made a move on him, than he made the move on Alonso the previous year, and Raikkonen still got DRS as he was behind Webber at the detection point. And next up is Jenson Button for a podium place, and on lap 8 again along the coming straight with the DRS wide open. Very evenly matched on speed at this point, but Raikkonen still makes a risky move and goes on the inside of Jenson Button and moves up into the podium positions. And next up is Sebastian Vettel in the Red Bull. Obviously he qualified in pole, Vettel, and he's the reigning world champion as it looks like. But might try and make a move up into this corner, but he doesn't. He thinks better of it, and it looks like he had to actually make the move back up Raikkonen after that, but that didn't amount to anything as Raikkonen just had better traction and better acceleration out that corner. And now as we are coming on to the end of lap 8, Raikkonen setting very consistent lap times. He is now very close to Sebastian Vettel, following closely through the source, and it looks like it's going to be a 3 or maybe even 4 battle between Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel, Kimi Raikkonen and Jenson Button for the win this weekend. They come through a region Radion once again and onto the Kemmel Straight. It looks like Raikkonen is a man on the move at the moment. He seems to love the Kemmel Straight today, opening the DRS once again. 7th gear. Isn't going to be another risky move because Vettel's got the slipstream of Hamilton, and it's not as risky move as it was on Button, but he still moves up into 2nd place. And now the only driver that stands between Raikkonen and another win at Spa-Francorchamps is now Lewis Hamilton. 2 laps left to go, and it's going to be interesting, but unfortunately Raikkonen couldn't do anything, and as it started to rain last lap, Lewis Hamilton won the race with Kimi Raikkonen coming home in 2nd place. Gained 8 places from where he started. That's not too bad, not the fastest lap, but it was definitely very close to it. And Raikkonen finishes in 2nd place, and after coming up from 10th, that's a fantastic finish. But here are the race results. Lewis Hamilton won the race, and Kimi Raikkonen in 2nd, Fernando Alonso rounding out the podium places. Then it was the 2 Red Bulls just mixing out the podium with Mark Webber and Sebastian Vettel. Then in 6th it was Jenson Button who qualified in 2nd, 7th was Nico Rosberg, and 8th was Romain Grosjean. And rounding out the top 10 was Sergio Perez and Michael Schumacher. Michael Schumacher did a good job coming up from 14th, finishing the points. Just mixed up the points with Nico Hulkenberg, and a further 5 seconds behind Hulkenberg was Daniel Ricciardo. And now as we move down the standings, you see Pastor Maldonado and Bruno Senna both made up 10 places from where they qualified after their mistake. And then you can see the usual suspects at the back, with the 2 drivers not finishing, Felipe Massa and Enrico Martin. Now as we look on to the driver's standings, you see Lewis Hamilton leads the way, 2 points ahead of Jenson Button. Mark Webber is in 3rd with Fernando Alonso in 4th. Kimi Raikkonen is in 5th. 6th is Sebastian Vettel. 7th is Romain Grosjean, 2 points behind. And then it's Sergio Perez, who is 7 points behind, with Michael Schumacher on 51 points and Pastor Maldonado on 35 points. And now moving on to the Constructors' Championship, you can see McLaren lead the way ahead of Red Bull and Lotus. Ferrari on 4th with Sauber in 5th, 6th Mercedes, 7th Williams, and 4th India ahead of Toro Rosso still by 1 point. The teams yet to score so far are Marussia, Caterham and HRT. But next up is the Italian Grand Prix, and we will see them. So if you have enjoyed this video, guys, please give it a big like, comment down below what you thought, subscribe if you are new for weekly F1 content. You can follow on Twitter @perpetuated_. As always, there is a link for that down in the description. All the music used in this video is also down in the description, and if you want to become part of Freedom, I highly recommend it. A link to that is also down in the description. But that's been it from me, and I will see you next time.